Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Rivers State is once again at the epicenter of Nigeria's most consequential political and constitutional showdown. We woke up this morning to fresh impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, with 26 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly formally invoking Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution to accuse both officials of gross misconduct. Now, the allegations are sweeping, detailed, and unusually explicit. They include the failure to present appropriation bills for 2024, 2025, and now 2026. They talked about authorizing spending billions of naira without legislative approval, alleged misappropriation of funds meant for local governments. There's also withholding salaries and statutory funds due to the House of Assembly and its Service Commission, as well as the demolition of the House of Assembly complex, an action the lawmakers insist violated subsisting court orders and has been condemned by the courts. It also they included references today to the Supreme Court judgment that we saw last year. In today's plenary, lawmakers went further, describing the governor as a mistake and a threat to democracy, insisting that Rivers State is being run without lawful budgeting authority and resolving that the House will not consider any medium-term expenditure framework or 2026 appropriation bill until investigations into these allegations are concluded. The development is particularly significant because it's not the first impeachment attempt we've seen in Rivers State in recent years. An earlier effort was halted after a state of emergency was declared, with Governor Fubara himself later acknowledging that President Tinubu's intervention saved his administration. Since then, the governor has defected to the APC, raising new political questions about party alignment, legislative loyalty, as well as the limits of presidential mediation. So tonight we ask, is this impeachment process fundamentally legal? Is it political, or perhaps both? Are the allegations substantially different from the previous ones we saw last year, or a continuation of a long-running power struggle? And what does this mean for governance, democracy, and stability in Rivers State going forward? What makes today's development different is that the House has formally reactivated the constitutional impeachment process after emergency rule. It's also anchored its claims on Supreme Court judgments and expanded allegations to include local government funds and taking the unprecedented step of freezing all budgetary consideration pending investigation.
Dated 5th January.
Siminalayi Fubara is a mistake. He is a mistake. Rivers State has never had it this bad. In the entire Nigeria, Siminalayi Fubara and Professor Ngozi Odu, these are the only two people in the office at the sub-national level that are yet to present 2026 appropriation bill. The entire country. He has been boasting, he has been saying it to his followers, that this assembly were nothing but toothless bulldog. That this 10th Rivers House Assembly, we cannot do anything, we cannot enforce the constitution. This is a sad commentary for our democracy. Sir Siminalayi Fubara and Professor Odu, they are nothing but a threat to our nascent democracy. If they are allowed to remain in office, I don't know what will become of our democracy.
Let's bring in public affairs analyst Dr. Yusuf Harun for more on this development. Dr. Harun, the last time we had this conversation, everyone was confident, especially prior to the lifting of the emergency rule, that both parties had resolved to work together. Did you see this renewed fallout coming at all? And if not, what do you think changed? We'll get back to that conversation right after this break. Mervyn Yubana, who's former caretaker chairman of Kana local government area in Rivers State, a key political voice and stakeholder in the unfolding crisis, also confirmed to join us on the show. Stay with us, everyone. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Let's bring in Dr. Arun into this conversation. Dr. Arun, another impeachment proceeding has kick-started earnest against Governor Fubara. Did you see this coming?
Yes, I saw it coming, and I was a bit not surprised. But again, I wondered why it has to lead into this. Do the House of Assemblies in members in Rivers State, are they looking forward to another state of emergency being declared by the presidency? I wonder why the Speaker of the House of Assembly in Rivers State and the Governor of Rivers State cannot settle this amicably. And definitely, there are the hands of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory in it. The House of Assembly, majority of them are loyal to Nyesom Wike, and the governor, having defected to APC, believes he's getting the backing of the federal government, the presidency, and the majority of the APC governors. But I see this as something which might affect both sides. I mean, Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara. We should know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. There should be a balance between the executive and the judiciary, together with the assembly, national, the federal, and even the state assembly. So I don't see this being a win-win for any of them. I mean, Wike, Fubara, and those who are inciting chaos or violence in Rivers State based on impeachment proceedings.
Well,
I don't see where this is going to lead to.
Beyond Governor Fubara and Nyesom Wike, the APC is also now in the mix because Mr. Governor is a member of the All Progressives Congress, which happens to be led by Mr. President himself. But interestingly, we've heard two very different accounts of why peace talks collapsed between both of them. Governor Fubara says he was waiting for Nyesom Wike to convene a reconciliation meeting. Wike, on the other hand, insists two meetings were held and agreements reached that were not honored. Why has it been so difficult to reach even the basic truths? And who, in your view, is not being fully truthful here?
Now, there was an agreement online that was posted. Whether this is real or not is another question. It's questionable. But in that agreement, over 10 requirements were listed. And we should know that Nyesom Wike himself said he is going to rule out or release the agreement between himself and Governor Fubara. Among the agreements is that the governor must not defect to the APC. And this is part of what caused this crisis again. Among the agreement that was released, allegedly, is that the governor must not appoint more than a certain number of special advisors. The governors must not even join the governors forum. The governor must not travel out. These are alleged allegations. These are allegations which are circulated online based on their agreement. But if this is true, and if these conditions are true, then that means you are just having a puppet as a governor, somebody who doesn't have or who cannot execute his full rights. I want to remind Nyesom Wike about something. You see, when you even have power, it's not every time you use a sledgehammer to kill or hit an ant, even if it's small. Let's look at Lagos State, for example. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, who is the master strategist and the president, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, how many times has he used his power and influence, even before he became the president, on any governor in this way, which is happening in Rivers State? Look at when Asiwaju Tinubu was the governor and he handed over, he endorsed Babatunde Fashola. There were allegations, allegedly, that there were rifts between himself and Fashola, but he never influenced the House of Assembly in Lagos State to impeach Fashola. He allowed him to rule his 8 terms peacefully. Also, there were allegations, allegedly, that there were rifts between Asiwaju Tinubu and Ambode. Asiwaju Tinubu did not influence the House of Assembly to impeach Ambode. He just said that democratically, I am going to support Sanwo-Olu to become the next governor of Lagos State. So if Nyesom Wike wants to learn from the master strategist and the Jagaban himself, who is a political master of this our era, He should look at how he can influence the next election in 2027, which is just next year. Few days, less than 365 days. Why is it not calm enough? It's as if something else is on. This man is the governor of Rivers State. You don't need to make noise about it. If you are truly influential, just endorse another person, influence him, and if that person wins the election in 2027, then people move on. But when you start to cause crisis,
Yes.
unnecessary crisis in a state like Rivers, which is one of the most sensitive states in Nigeria, then it is something which I believe I want to recommend that the president should come in this time, and this time not declare a state of emergency in Rivers. You don't need to, but you should invite Nyesom Wike, invite Governor Fubara, and let them settle amicably. I believe both of them respect the president, Bola Tinubu. Both of them are working towards the re-election of Tinubu. Nyesom Wike, when he went to visit Asari Dokubo, his picture was there, and the bigger portrait picture was Asiwaju Tinubu, and Wike together with Asari Dokubo. They both agree that they will work for the re-election of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I hear you, Dr. Aaron. You know that President Tinubu has intervened twice already before the emergency rule and again to, stabilize the state. I doubt if there's any confidence right now as to whether another intervention is really going to resolve this matter. Both individuals fell out months after the election in 2023. Less than 3 months after the emergency rule, they are back at it. Do you think it speaks to the fact that perhaps the Fubara-Wike relationship is now beyond repair and that reconciliation, or do you think reconciliation is still possible as it is today?
Reconciliation is still possible as it is today. Based on my political analysis, what can be done now is that the president himself will call Nyesom Wike privately, closed door. Even the media doesn't need to know anything. Nobody needs to know. Between him and Nyesom Wike, people, what do you really want? He should rule out his grievances. He should also call Fubara. So them should sit down on the round table and they should discuss and come to an amicable conclusion on how they can resolve this crisis. I believe strongly that it can still be resolved. I still want to recommend.
Yes. You had the FCC minister in one of his recent rallies saying that they have decided that they're not going that way in 2027 and that nobody can call him to, change his mind in that regard. But precisely, let us look at, for instance, let us take a look at some of the issues that have been raised, by the House of Assembly. They have spoken about extra budgetary spending. They are making reference to the demolition of the House of Assembly. They're also talking about a long list of gross misconduct, non-presentation of budgets, spending state funds without legislative approval, withdrawal of salaries and funds, that are meant for members of the House of Assembly. Are you saying that these concerns aren't genuine?
Yes, these are genuine, but we also know that these are political and they can be resolved politically. Now, this is where I recommend that the elders in Rivers State, not only the presidency, after all, the president is not from Rivers State, but he is the father of the nation and the leader of everyone. So I suggest strongly that the big wigs in Rivers State, the elders, the chiefs, the obas, they should also come together. Now, the problem, I will say, when the secretary of APC was even talking, he already pitched side with Fubara and was inciting it. I feel it is inciting, saying, oh, Fubara is the leader of APC in Rivers State. We know that, yes, I said it on air also, that every governor automatically assumes the position of the leader. But we also know that even if a governor is the leader of a state, there are some people who are far more influential than sitting governors. And not only Asiwaju, we know that there are political people who are stronger. For example, if you look at the Niger Delta, there are some people who are not even elected officials, But when they stand up and say something, it's that. Some of the people there, it's this particular man. We have Pompolo. We have people like that who are very influential. I feel many of these people should come together and call them together on how they can resolve. Yes, not presentation of budgets is something which some people can allege, especially lawyers can say this is an impeachable act. Appointing executives without due process, without being screened by the House of Assembly, can be called to be impeachable. But let's look at the United States of America, for example. When Donald Trump, when we're emulating their democracy, when he went to kidnap another president in Venezuela, they didn't just come up and say they are going to impeach the president. There are democratic ways in which they can resolve it. So I think reading on the dailies and reading on TVC and watching TVC and seeing that Governor Fubara is again going to be impeached, this is my prediction. I don't think he's going to be impeached. I don't think the presidency would sit down again and allow House of Assembly members, some of them, maybe 27 or so, to impeach. This is my opinion. I don't think the impeachment is going to fly. I'm saying it clearly today. I don't think it's going to fly. But it's going to incite the polity. It's going to cause more crisis in Rivers State. So I want to appeal, and I believe strongly that both even the National Assembly can wade in again, senators from Rivers State in particular, the House of Reps, the leaders of Rivers State, even the former governors, like Peter Odili, even Amechi, they should all come together to look for peace in their state and not to incite politics. 2027 is around the corner, and I will say this, 2027 is already playing right now. That is what is happening in Nigeria. Everybody is already preparing for 2027 election, both states and general, presidential. So this is all what is happening. We're in 2026 January, but to the eyes of the politician, 2027 is around the corner, and that's what is playing out.
Well, I like your optimism. The last time this happened, we saw the House of Assembly complex destroyed, pipelines bombed, and there are concerns about whether or not we're headed towards another round of violent politicking. But hopefully all the stakeholders can wake up and smell the coffee, that indeed the electorate should be priority this time. And indeed, people who live and do business in Rivers also require to have a say. That's our time, Dr. Aaron. Thank you so much for talking to us on Beyond the Headlines.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
That's our program this hour, everyone. Thank you for being a part of it.